Okay, morning guys, and happy new year, or should I say happy new decade. It didn't actually dawn on me until people mentioned that it's a new decade, and yeah, as always, when it gets to New Year, you start to kind of reflect on stuff that's happened, and stuff that's good stuff, bad stuff, stuff that you've achieved. And I was kind of looking back at the last 10 years, and yeah, it's been quite a kind of, quite a pivotal decade in my life, I suppose, for different reasons. Some good, some not quite so good. I mean, to get the bad things out of the way first, my dad passed away in 2013, so I lost my mum 10 years before that. And so, losing your second parent is always a bit of a kicker, as you would expect. But by and large, it was a good decade for me. I mean, on a personal front, I started running. I mean, I used to run when I was a teenager, but I'd done a half marathon, and I'd never taken my running seriously at all. Excuse me, I have got a bit of a cold, which is horrible. Yeah, I'd never really done a lot as regards running, but in 2010, I was basically sitting. I was unhealthy. I wasn't unhealthy, but I was unfit. I wasn't doing a great deal, and I was watching the London Marathon. It was in May 2010, I think it was, yeah. And I decided I want to start running. I want to do a marathon. I would love to do that. And one of my mates gave me a training program, and it was 20 weeks, and it basically took me from not doing any running at all to a marathon in 20 weeks. And you know what? I absolutely stuck to it rigidly, and I nailed it. And I did a marathon. It was my first marathon in October 2010. And then that led on to me doing a number of ultras. I don't know how many ultras I've done. An ultra is any race over a marathon distance. Most of them are 30 miles. I don't think there's any marathon. I don't think there's any ultras that are less than 30 odd miles. So yeah, I did. I don't know. I must have done about 12 ultras, including completing 3 West Highland Way races, which are 96 miles. And I am stupidly proud of myself that I've managed to do these, because it really tests you, and you talk to anybody, even when I think about it myself now, how to run 100 miles is pretty damn mental, and as I says, for me it's been a massive achievement. Saying that, right now I have probably never been as unfit as I am now. I've not ran for a couple of months, and I'm quite frankly, I'm disgusted in myself that I've let myself go so much. I'm fortunate that I've not really put on weight, not a great deal anyway, because I don't eat a lot. I do eat shite, like a lot of people. I do eat shite, being a single bloke living in Malone. I do eat crap, but I don't eat a lot of food, and I think that's the only reason I'm still I've not put on very much weight. But I'm not a fan of New Year resolutions. I always think to myself, well, why say you're going to do something on the 1st of January? Why not just do it now? Do it on the 22nd of July. Don't wait until the 1st of January to do stuff. And here I am. I found myself making New Year's resolutions, and that was, I want to get back to proper running. The fact that I've got man flu isn't going to help, so I'll need to wait for that to clear up. So that, and I mean, I suppose it's a bittersweet one. The next one, I am now single. Well, I'm not single. I've got a girlfriend. You know what I mean, but I'm not married. Well, technically, I am still married, but anyway, we'll not go into that. Yeah, I had a big change in my personal life. Me and my ex separated 2 years ago almost, and it was a big upheaval, as you would expect. But I think we both realised that things had ran their course. Our relationship had ran its course, and as much as we still cared about each other, we weren't close like two people should be that live together. and we took that decision to go our own way. And I've now got my own house, and you know, my ex she's got her own place, and most importantly, my daughter, she's absolutely fine with everything now. You know, she comes to me once a week or 1 week every second week, and then she goes to her mum's every second week as well. So you know, there's that. I says I've got a new girlfriend. I've been seeing Lee now for 10 months, and it's going really, really well, really happy with things. And the other part is I've got a new job. I mean, I started working for my last company back in November 2001, so I was almost 2 decades in that same job. The job had changed over that period. I'd also moved companies through the two-pay transfer process, but ultimately I was in the same job that I'd started. It was 19 years ago, and then last year I just decided enough was enough. I wasn't enjoying my job, and I took it upon myself to look for another job, and I've now started a new job. I've been in it 2 months, still trying to find my feet. It's still a challenge. I'm still unsure as to whether it's what I want to do, you know, for the long term, but that's something I need to decide. Still planning to give it another few months just to see how things go on that job front. So yeah, in 10 years, I says I've managed to do some ultra running. I've done, I've pushed myself physically more than I've ever done before. Got a new job after 20 years. I've got a new relationship after 20 years. And YouTube wasn't something. I started YouTube in 2013, just the tail end of 2013. It's it's growing, not, you know, exponentially, but you know, as far as my hobby goes, it's become a part of what I am now. I do enjoy my YouTube channel. I probably don't make as many videos as I would like. Now, I was watching a video put out by one of my mates, Dave, Retro Gaming Memories. Now, Dave has featured in a couple of my videos in the past. Dave started up a channel, he said he did it about 4 years ago, but I think he's only really been doing it seriously for maybe, I don't know, a couple of years. But Dave has decided to effectively shut down his channel. His channel is still going to remain in place, so you can still watch his old videos, but Dave basically said that he felt he'd said everything he had to say about his hobby. He's still massively into video games, but he felt that he'd said what he had to say, and he wanted to spend more time away from the computer and actually playing more games and doing more stuff, which is fair enough. And it kind of got me thinking, you know, I was reflecting on my channel and thinking, you know, I'll say quite a lot to you guys, you know, I really need to up my game, I need to start making more videos, etc. But is that what I really want to do? In an ideal world, I would love to be able to do more videos, but I think I've got to start thinking about what is important to me as an individual. You know, I don't want to spend all my time sitting behind a computer, because here's the thing, as much as I love the interaction with everybody that watches my videos, you've got to actually look at it literally and think, well, what am I doing here? I'm sitting behind a camera, or I'm playing a game, and I'm uploading it onto this thing called YouTube, and you get a number of views and whatever, and ultimately it's not really achieving very much. It's not doing anything. I don't make any money out of this at all. The payback I do get is the fact that I have made some great friends through this thing, and I will continue to make videos as long as people want to watch them. Then I will continue to do what I'm doing, but I don't think I'm ever going to really grow the channel, because it's kind of settled down. I mean, one thing, I was watching a video last night. It was Daniel Iberson, Slopes Game Room. Now, Daniel has been a full-time YouTuber for a year, and he's now up to, I don't know, something like, he's over 100,000 subscribers. Now, he only started doing this 4 years ago, and I just find it quite incredible how some channels can just explode. I mean, he's, going from nothing to 100,000, and I've gone from nothing to 2,000. What's going on there? I know you can't, as I've said to anybody that wants to do YouTube, as a hobby, you can never ever do it to make money or whatever, but yeah, it's a mental thing. But he's now, he's taking his to the next level. He's gone full time, and that allows him all the time in the world. Whereas you and I go to work in the morning, and you work all day, you do an 8, 9, 10 hour shift, whatever, to pay the bills. That is his job, and so it's easier to grow a channel when you're getting paid to do it. Whereas you and I, excuse me, dearie me. You and I were still having to kind of do real life stuff, like real jobs and that kind of stuff. Not that I'm saying that YouTube is not a real job, but it's a job that would be, it's not got the stress of, working for somebody else, etc. But anyway, I'm waffling a wee bit, which I suppose a Friday Waffle's all about. But like I said, yeah, I'm still going to continue to do my channel. I do enjoy it, but I think I've got to be realistic when I say that I don't think I'm ever going to achieve the same level of output of videos that I did maybe 3-4 years ago. That was the funny thing, was although I was married and I was in a relationship and etc. I don't know whether that was a fundamental flaw of our relationship, but I filled up my time with doing other stuff like YouTube, etc. And I think now that I'm on my own, there's more prioritising things that I want to do. I don't want to spend the rest of my life just, like I says, making YouTube videos. That's not going to happen. But I will continue to keep doing what I'm doing. It's funny how I've been, looking at social media, Facebook and that kind of stuff, and we're actually closer, when you think about, we're now at the year 2020, and the year 2050 is, I will be 83 years old. 83. In the year 2050, I will be 83 years old. And am I going to get to that age? Who knows? I honestly don't know. And yet 2050 is the same time away that 1990 is. Now 1990 to me still seems, to me when I think of the year 1990, I kind of think of Oasis, Blur, the Sega Mega Drive. Now that to me all feels fairly recent, I should say. That doesn't seem that long ago, and it's terrifying to think in that same space of time, if it passes again, I will be 83 years old. Chances are I'm going to be dead. That's quite a sobering thought, and I think when you hear things like that, it just makes you kind of look at time, and you start to, when you're a kid, when you're 10 years old, you think you've got the world in front of you, your life in front of you, and you do. You've largely got a long time to go. But when you get to my age, you suddenly realise, wait a minute, I don't have that much time. I mean, nobody knows how long we've got. We really don't. But like I said, when you think about 1990 to now, it's the same amount of time I've got from now to 2050, and chances are I probably won't even be here, which is quite a scary and sobering thought. So anyway, back on track, retro gaming, etc. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope this year turns out to be a good one. I didn't do very much for Hogmanay. I'm not a fan of Hogmanay. I know lots of people love it. To me, it's just another day. I mean, I sat up, watched a bit of TV, and then I was in my bed for about 12:30. Not this year, what was I going to say? Yeah, video games, what I've been doing in the last week. I went back to work yesterday, and I must admit I found it pretty hard. Going from getting up at 11 o'clock in the morning, I mean, the last week, I quite literally wasn't getting out of my bed until 10, 11 in the morning, and then trying to get up at 6 o'clock yesterday morning was really difficult. add on the fact that I'm not feeling too great. It was tough. Don't mind admitting it was hard going. The only saviour is it was a 1 day week, and then obviously we've got the weekend, and then I'm back to working Monday again. But gaming wise, I've been having a lot of fun with the C64. I did put out a video yesterday, I think it was. Having a lot of fun with it. If all I will say is if you've not got a Commodore 64, a real Commodore 64, and you're a fan of one and you want to pick up one, you want to play Commodore 64 games again, by all means, if you've got a Raspberry Pi or an emulator, that's great. But it really does feel like a proper C64 that's been modded to work on an HDMI connection. It is really, really good. Now, I've got to say, when I was making my video, I noticed some of all of the games were running that a wee bit too fast, and I didn't know why. Excuse me. Well, I kind of gathered it was running at 60 megahertz, but I didn't know how to change it. I had no idea why it was doing that. And my mate Chris told me that when you first set up the machine, it gives you an option to pick the language and then whether you want to run it at 50 megahertz or 60 megahertz. Now, I do remember when I was setting it up a couple of days ago, because I had it connected to a sort of a 2-in-1 HDMI connector, sometimes the screen goes off, it goes black for a second, and I do recall it doing that at the point I switched it on for the very first time, and I must have set it at 60. So what you do is you hold down the fire button, you hold down the power button for, I think it's 6 seconds, and it basically does a factory reset, it starts up again. So I've changed it to 50 megahertz and it is now running really sweet. Another thing as well is one of the things that was annoying me slightly, the game file names were shortened, so you couldn't really tell what they were. So if you got like a game like Super Pipeline, all it would say would be Super, and then like the last maybe 3 or 4 letters of the name, so it might be like Super Pipeline, and then in brackets Europe, so it would say Super, and then up. You didn't have a clue what you were running, so you had 10 games that started with Super. You had no idea what these games were without loading them. But there's a firmware update which came out yesterday. I've updated mine and it now shows the file name in full. Well, not quite in full, it still does cut off a few letters, but you can basically see what the game's going to be. But all I will say is, if you're a C64 fan and you want to play what feels like the real deal, then go and get yourself one. It's fantastic. Really can't rate it high enough. Plus the fact that it's a VIC-20 as well, double bonus. Really good. So I've been playing that. I did play my main cab for about half an hour a couple of days ago. First time I'd switched it on in quite a long time. Apart from that, not been playing a great deal. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to batter in. Apologies about the really dull background. I'm going out this morning. I'm meant to be going out in about 15 minutes time, so I wanted to get this waffle done and dusted. So I'm just going to pause this and I'll get the questions. Right, kicking things off, excuse me, is Colin Jones. Happy new decade, Alan. I built the cube but didn't live stream, too many interruptions, just 6 grids to go. Yeah, Colin basically built this, it's like a 3-dimensional cube, and it's got all these lights inside, and so it was playing like if you imagine like a light synthesizer in time to music, but instead of just moving up and down, it was moving in and out as well, so it was kind of like 4-dimensional sound. It was really, really smart looking. In contrast to a question in last week's waffle, have there been any games you were looking forward to, bought and thought they were so crap you never played again? There probably has, Colin. A couple of games just... I'm bad for not really sticking with games. One game that I remember buying because it was hyped beyond belief and I just thought, I didn't like it, was a Black and White. It was one of Peter Molyneux's super duper games. It was you play the part of a sort of god, and it's kind of like Populous, and you also controlled like a large, it was a bizarre concept, like a large cow or horse, whatever it was, that kind of oversaw all the people. It was a bizarre kind of thing. And I remember reading reviews, and it was getting amazing reviews. The AI was just incredible. You could interact with this cow and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was absolute garbage. I could not get the controls at all, and I gave up big style. So that was one. Another game which I was really disappointed in, the original was great, and it was a World of Sensible Soccer. Now, the Amiga one, the original Amiga Sensible Soccer was just the best football game ever. Then they brought out World of Sensible Soccer, which was still really good. It wasn't, I just felt that the difficulty was just that bit more, excuse me, it was just that bit harder than the original game. And it obviously factored in a management part of the game as well. But I still played it a lot, still loved it. Then when I sold my Commodore Amiga to get a PC, I bought World of Sensible Soccer on the PC, and it just didn't work. I don't know what it was. It looked the same, and I really, really wanted it to be the same game because it just looked identical, but the playability was just broken. It just didn't feel the same at all, and that was it. I mean, Sensible Soccer was the game that I've probably put more hours into over any other game that I've ever played in my life. The original Sensible Soccer, I just played so much. Really, really did. And then, so to go from a game that I just played constantly and I loved it so much, and then I got it in the PC and it felt broken, and then that was it. My love affair with Sensible Soccer stopped there and then. I can't recall any games. No. One game that I remember. Yeah, maybe I was a wee bit unfair, but one game that I was really, really stoked for, waiting for the sequel, and it was the sequel to Way of the Exploding Fist. Anybody that watches my channel will probably know that Way of the Exploding Fist is my favourite beat 'em up. I'm not a beat 'em up fan really, but that was probably the last beat 'em up that I played and enjoyed. And even now, I still think it's a better game than International Karate Plus. I know people say, technically International Karate Plus is a better game. It possibly is. But I just think the music, the graphics, the sound, just the atmosphere, the ambience of the original Way of the Exploding Fist, it's a fantastic game. Love it. Yeah, it's got the one button press to, the leg sweep, and you can defeat everybody, but don't do that. Simple as that. So naturally, when they announced there was going to be Way of the Exploding Fist 2, I was really, really excited about it, like a lot of people. And what came along was, it was an adventure game. I mean, I remember seeing previews. It was an adventure game using the same game mechanics as Way of the Exploding Fist. And what's not to like? It looked like the best game ever. And what transpired was, it was an adventure game. You walk from left to right. But I don't know what it was. They diluted the moves. I don't think there was as many moves. Maybe there was. Maybe it's my memory playing tricks. But it just didn't feel as... there weren't as many moves. It was a far shallower experience than the original. And there was a lot of time just spent wandering left to right. It did kind of make up for it slightly. If you turned the cassette over, they had a one-on-one combat. Basically, it was like Way of the Exploding Fist. It was a one-on-one. But what I did like about that was, instead of having like the 2 full points and then you were defeated in the original game, you had an energy bar, so it meant that each bout lasted quite a bit, and that was good. But the sequel just never really measured up to the original for me. It's like everything. It's like Jaws 2 is never going to be as good as Jaws 1. The original Star Wars is always going to be the best Star Wars. So I think there's possibly a bit of that in it as well. If the original had never been made, chances are I'd have loved the second game. But it just never really ticked it for me. But I just didn't when I got the sequel and I played the adventure game, I was just so disappointed, and I never really played it much at all. So, Milfy Swinbuckle, question for next waffle. What has been your biggest surprise since gaming? What thing has blown you away by its brilliance or just made you scratch your head and ask the question, what the fuck? That's a good question. What has been the biggest surprise since I started gaming? There's been numerous wow moments. I mean, moving from when I first heard a digitised demo on the C64, it was Kung Fu Fighting. I remember it was on a disc. It was Kung Fu Fighting, and it was it was a digitised. It was like 3 seconds of the song on a C64, and I was like, wow, how is that possible? Then there was the speech from Impossible Mission. Much as I hate the game, the speech in the Impossible Mission was awesome. Then there was a wow moment when I went from a Commodore 64 to an Atari ST and I played Arkanoid. Wow, going from like a C64 to arcade perfect version of Arkanoid, that was just like incredible. Other wow moments, I suppose the first time I saw Doom on the PC. It wasn't my PC, it was my mate Grant's, and it was running on his 486, and it was like something I'd never ever seen before. Then I suppose, what else? First seeing a PlayStation. I think it was Tekken was the first game that I saw on that. In fact, it was either Tekken or Demolition Derby. These were the 2 games that I bought when I got mine, and it was just incredible. And absolutely incredible. This was like an arcade perfect machine in my house. Hardware wise, getting my first Vectrex. I'd seen a Vectrex in a shop, back in 1981. I didn't really know what it was at that point. That was a wow moment, getting to first owning a Vectrex. And I think also getting to see when I first got my Virtua Game Boy. Virtua Game Boy? What am I talking about? Virtual Boy, the VR headset thing that Nintendo brought out. You do see it in the intro to most of my videos, the little red thing. When I first got that, I was pretty blown away of just how good it is. Everybody knocks the Virtual Boy. I don't know why. When people talk about failures and crap hardware, they always talk about the Virtual Boy, and I think it's so unfair because until you've actually tried it, don't knock it. The 3D is actually really, really good. You need to remember this came out sort of, 94, 95. It was way ahead of its time, and the 3D is actually really good. It doesn't jump out at you, 3D. It's more like the 3D you get in a cinema. It's like, you're looking into the screen. So the Virtual Boy was a fantastic piece of kit. It really, really was. Yeah, Milfy's saying here, for me, I think MAME has been the most fantastic surprise. I know that you've mentioned something similar before as well in previous videos, so I'm guessing your answer might be the same. Having all those legendary games that I worshipped as a whippersnapper at my fingertips still amazes me to this day. You know what, Milfy, I forgot about MAME, and I don't know how I could. As I've mentioned on quite a few times, I was first made aware of MAME back in 1997, and it was my mate Grant had phoned me up and to say that one of his mates had this disc that allowed you to play the actual arcade game. Actual arcade games, and I'm sure the one he told me was Galaxian, and that just freaked me out. I just thought, how could that possibly be a thing? And for the next couple of days until I met Grant to get the disc off him, I could not believe. I was so excited to see what this thing was, and when I eventually did get the disc off him, and excuse me, and I loaded up the game. I mean, it was back then. It was DOS. It was old DOS commands. I think you typed in like mame.exe dash Galaxian, and suddenly there in front of my eyes was Galaxian, the arcade Galaxian running on my PC, and that just, oh man, you cannot believe what that was like to see that. It was one of the, yeah, in fact I would probably say more than anything that I've mentioned, I would probably say that's the biggest wow moment. It was completely unexpected, and to this day I still think that MAME is the single best piece of code ever. Granted, I know that the guys themselves don't write the games, but to be able to write a piece of software that allows you to play arcade games on your PC is just mind blowing. And to that point, yeah, that is definitely the biggest wow moment. I mean, it's, you know, probably if it wasn't for MAME, I probably wouldn't even be doing this video channel, because MAME really just, it brought back the whole, you know, being able to play old games. And like you said there as well, Milfy, the fact that I lived in central Scotland and didn't have any arcades nearby, the only experience I had a lot of games was home conversions. And then when I finally got to play these in MAME, it was incredible. I mean, every new release in MAME was like, it was like Christmas. You know, here's another 30, 40 games that you can play. I can always remember going to Dave's Arcade Classics website, and you would have the little read me and it would tell you what new games were supported. I always remember the day I discovered Yar Kung Fu was playable. Oh man, that was... Even now I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Suddenly, to be able to play, you know, the arcade at home was amazing. It really was. So yeah, definitely MAME for me has got to be the biggest wow moment. As for what the question, I found that the emergence of the family gaming consoles, the ones that made formerly computer game haters start loving the gaming scene, such as the Wii advertising campaign, all a bit surreal. I remember the whole sudden change in attitude towards gaming made me raise a speculative eyebrow. Yeah, the funny thing is, not MAME, the Wii was probably the first mainstream or first piece of hardware that really brought video games to the mainstream. You know, I remember trying to buy a Wii and you could not get them for love nor money. I had this website that I used to check at work, and it would basically tell you where and when a Wii was for sale and where you could buy it. It was insane. You couldn't buy them anywhere. people were selling them for 500 quid on eBay. And the thing is, yeah, that really brought people who had never played a video game before. People were buying a Wii because they could play Wii Sports and all that kind of stuff. And then after the Wii kind of died, obviously you had the DS as well, which I think you had your whole brain training games and that kind of stuff. They kind of brought gaming to the mass, to people who would never have played a game before. And I kind of think that has died away again. I think that, like, video games has returned to being I'm not going to say a niche hobby, because I mean the video games industry turns over more money than I believe collectively the movie industry and the music industry put together. It's an absolutely phenomenal thing. You know, something like Call of Duty, the money it makes is just absolutely mental. So I think that video games has kind of returned to just, you know, hardcore video gamers. And I think the mass market gaming has now been catered for with stuff like this. Smartphones you can now pick up. I mean, my mate Gareth, and I'm going to let you see this actually. My mate Gareth Noyce, or Corruptor as he's known on the intraweb, he has just released a game, and I'm going to let you see it. Now you can buy this, it's £1.99. You can buy this on both for Android and also for iOS. And it's basically a twin stick shooter. Hopefully it's got a demo mode, I don't know if it has actually. but it's beautiful. Don't know if there is a demo mode. Probably not. Let's just leave it on that for a second. In fact, let's start a game. I'm obviously not going to be able to really play it. But yeah, you can see there. Ah, bugger. Wait a minute, let's close all that and open it up again. Ah. Right, let's spin it around and start the game. And it's made by Thalamus, published by Thalamus. I'll try and... No, you see there is twin sticks. It's a twin stick shooter. But trying to play it back to front is nigh on impossible. Right, that's me shooting. That's me moving. Boom. But yeah, go and check that out. It's called, I can't even pronounce the name of it. Quick game. Right, come out with that. And it's called, let's have a look. Seconoid. Yeah. It's like I said, it's £1.99 and you'll find it on both iOS and the Google Play or Play Store, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think getting back on track, I think now that the more mainstream not mainstream gaming, people who don't normally play video games, they are now catered for by smartphones, your Candy Crush, all these kind of things. So, anyway, right, where am I? My iPad keeps closing down. Anyway, listen, Milfy, thanks very much for some cracking questions. Ben Dust, Merry Christmas, mate, and Happy New Year to those who tried Derek's channel. It's absolutely brilliant, made me cry with laughter. Yeah, Ben is talking about Derek Findash, fantastic channel. I've mentioned it a few times. Shinobi, Merry Christmas, Alan and family, Happy New Year, mate. Thank you very much. Batman, superlative waffling, sir. Happy New Year to you. The Atari I got as a Christmas gift was Atari 65 XE, by the way, and I'm really enjoying it. I've just bought the SD Max for it. That device is a godsend. I had the 65 XE as well, and it's a fantastic little machine. I did eventually sell it because I managed to get myself a 130 XE. The only difference is the 130 has got 128 of memory. So that's the only reason I got it, but the 65 XE is brilliant. The Atari is an awesome machine, it really is. As much as I'm a C64 man, I think probably I would say the Atari is probably the best 8-bit home computer. Anyway, you can discuss that later on. I see you picked up the Zap and Crash Annuals. I bought the Zap 2020 before Christmas and last year picked up all the other Crash and Zap Annuals thus far. Having had time to check them out, I'd be interested in your thoughts on them. So, yeah, as Bat mentions there, I did manage to get, for my Christmas, I got the Crash 2019 annual and the Zap 2020. Now, unfortunately, the Zap 2019 one was sold out. However, one of my good mates, Mark Ellie, as he's known on the interweb, he has very, very kindly agreed to let me have his 2019 annual for the price of postage, which is really, really nice of him. I really do thank him for that. I've had a quick look at, I've spent maybe half an hour looking at the Zap 2020 annual. Got to say, they've captured the flavour of the magazine. They really have. You know, you do feel like you're watching or you're reading one of the original magazines. It's nice to see quite a few of my mates in it. Paul Morrison and Matt Allen, they both take part in it, and also our Chris Panther UK, he's got a feature on his Sid shenanigans. So go and check it out. But I've not, like I said, I've only spent maybe half an hour looking at it, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it. Really worth, definitely worth the money. So anyway, Bat, thank you very, very much for the question, buddy. Ian Hunter, season's greetings, Alan. A question for the waffle. As you know, I am of moderate age who has children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Blimey, I didn't know you're that old, Ian. Who all enjoy playing video games. It warms my heart to see the young ones failing so badly on games like Blagger, Tempest and Super Pipeline, etc. You know what, the fact that you're getting your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids to play these games is just awesome. I don't believe retro gaming will ever die as long as video games exist. Love to hear your thoughts, Alan. Yeah, you know my thoughts, Ian. You know, I am... my heart will always lie in the old style games, you know, the 8-bit games. They were fiendishly difficult, but they were hard for a reason, because the games were really short, so they had to make the difficulty, you know, steep. If they were too easy, then you would have completed the game, you know, within 10 minutes, virtually. So yeah, and you go along to these play events, play Blackpool and whatever it is, and it's always nice to see kids enjoying these old games, because, you know, it's like watching an old film. I mean, if you talk about Christmas time, a lot of people say their favourite Christmas movie is A Wonderful Life, and it's a fantastic film. There are so many classic old films, and just because it's an old film doesn't mean you're not going to watch it or it's not relevant now. And it's the same with video games. The early video games, they had virtually hee-haw RAM at their disposal. Sound was minimal. You know, the controls were minimal as well. So it had to be, the playability had to be, you know, high. You know, they really had to be playable. And that's why these that's why these older games are so good, because they're so playable. You look at stuff like, even like Manic Miner, or, you know, Jumpman Jr. It's a game I've mentioned quite a few times. Jumpman Jr. is one of the most basic looking video games you could ever play. You know, it's so basic and blocky looking, but it's an utterly fantastic game. And, you know, I think it's important that kids get to see this is where, you know, your Call of Duties, your Fortnites, your Overwatches, these are the games that spawned the games you're playing now. I mean, my daughter, she buys, you know, all the new games, well, not all the new games, but she likes playing modern games on the PlayStation 4, and she plays a lot of games on Steam. And although she doesn't really play many old games now, she still does respect them, and she still enjoys. She did enjoy playing them as a kid. You know, we would sit and play 2-player Rodland on my modded Xbox, and we would play Super Bomberman in the SNES, or Super Bomberman 3, I think it is. So she understands, you know, where these games started from, and she enjoys them, and, you know, and she used to sit and play, you know, the SNES emulator, and, you know, she didn't know that these games that she was playing were like 30 years old. You know, to her they were just games, and yeah, graphically wise they might not look that great now, but, you know, a good game is a good game. And when you actually look at games now, when you think about, I don't know, take Berserk for example. Berserk is one of the most basic looking games you could ever get. You've got a maze, you've got robots, and you move, you know, up, down, left and right, and you shoot things. When you actually think about it, Halo, or any third person shooter, it's virtually the same game, but just a different viewpoint. Instead of looking at your little sprite in the centre of the screen, you're actually looking through the eyes of your person. So it's the same game. So really, things haven't evolved that much, and I think that's where I'm getting a wee bit kind of fed up of the sort of modern games. There doesn't seem to be any creativity. Yeah, you've got, I was going to say Jeff Minter, and, you know, you have got some indie developers. They'll take a chance and they'll put out some new gaming ideas. But by and large, you know, most of the current the current games are just the same. It's the same thing over and over again. They don't want to take chances, and understand why that is the case, because they're investing so much money. I mean, to make a modern game now, I'm not an expert. I would imagine it could run into tens of millions of pounds. That's a lot of money, and they need to make sure that they're going to recoup that money back. So that's why you're never going to get a modern version of Trash Man or Horace Goes Skiing, or I don't know, some other bizarre, odd game. Back in 8-bit days, it was one guy in his bedroom coding. I'm talking about the early days. I mean, by the time we got to the sort of like the late 80s, with Ocean and that kind of stuff, it was big teams that were doing these games. And I say big teams, maybe 3 or 4 people, but the early days, it was a kid in his bedroom coding. I mean, Manic Miner was coded by Matthew Smith, and he was in his bedroom coding the thing. So there was if that didn't work, then, there was nobody got hurt. But nowadays, there is so much money getting invested in games that companies simply don't want to take a chance with trying anything different. And that's a sad thing. You've got sports games, you've got your third person shooters, and you've got your driving games, and that's kind of the 3 main genres. There are other games in between, but I'm just hoping that when the PlayStation 5 comes along, that we're maybe going to see something a bit different. I know there are different, with online stuff, you do get slightly more, varieties of games, but by and large, I think we've kind of stagnated. We really need somebody to come along, and that's why I like Nintendo, because they've never been afraid to kind of push the boundaries. I mean, they took a chance with the Switch, and I'm glad to see the Switch is doing really, really well. The Switch is probably, if I was to say to anybody about getting a current console, I'd probably say get the Switch, because it's portable. There's some cracking games coming out for it, and plus you can plug it in your TV as well. So yeah, so that's kind of it, guys. I'm going to wrap this video up now. We're just about 40 minutes in. So just to really say, guys, thanks you very, very much for all the help and support that you've given me last year. And here's to a really good 2020 for everybody. I do look forward to sharing some online time with you guys when I'm doing my live streams and that kind of stuff. And obviously catching up online with comments and that kind of stuff. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a nice weekend. And finally, thank you very, very much for watching, and Happy New Year to everyone.